Yo, what up? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Devlogs. In this episode, I'll introduce you to my project and plan out features I intend to add in the future. I value your time, so let's just get into it. I'm making the game in Godot and coding in GDScript. If you want to learn more about them, fucking Google it. The project that I'm working on is a 2D platformer with a form switching gimmick. That's pretty much all you need to know for now. Now, I'm no expert, and this is my first project in the engine, so I'm mostly making it to learn more about real coding applications and to see what game dev is like. If the project becomes something bigger, that will be swag. Now, this is a platformer, so movement is the most important. But I need someone to move. And I need somewhere to do the moving. Otherwise, the character will just fall through the void, and that's not very engaging, is it? So first of all, I made a placeholder character. And then I made a placeholder test map. None of this is even near final, but I needed somewhere to move to actually test out the movement that I'm making. You may notice that the tile map is a bit lacking, there's no corner pieces. I may fix that in the future, or I may just leave it as is, because this is just a test map after all. Now the movement. First of all, walking. Now you might think this is just, simple left to right walking, sliding kind of thing. And yes it is, but it's got a pretty interesting quirk that I worked on. That being a last input wins system. Basically what this means is that when the player holds both directional buttons at once, the one that is respected is the one that was most recently pressed. The reason I cared so much about this change is because it allows you to schmoove a lot easier, and who doesn't love a bit of schmoovage? Now that the player can move around, it's time to get those puppies off the ground. I thought really hard for like 2 seconds about that one. Jumping, also a pretty simple thing. The player has some directional control in the air, and there's a jump interrupt system that I'm pretty proud of. It's pretty simple. The player moves upward at a uniform rate up until a time limit is met, which is currently 10 frames, or until they stop holding the jump button. Then their momentum starts getting slowed down by gravity, and after a few frames they start accelerating downwards. Easy stuff. I made it that way to give the player control over how high they want to jump, and to make movement feel floatier. Other options made the player feel like a heavy sack of potatoes, and that's not the feel you want in a platformer. Now, wall jumping and wall sliding. Pretty simple stuff. Aside from the player having one main hitbox, they also have 2 hitboxes on either side of them, responsible for wall jumps. If one of them collides with a wall, you can slide along the wall or just jump away. The jump height can be regulated by holding jump for longer, just like with regular jumps. Now, I know that 2 hitboxes sound bad. They shouldn't be there, that's not how I should solve this problem. Back when I did this, I didn't know of any other way to do it. I'll replace the wall jump system with a cleaner, more intuitive, simpler system somewhere in the future. The last feature I wanted to talk about is input buffering. To explain it to you, I'm gonna need to explain the 2 input handlers with the name of the variable. In practice, all this means is that the player now has a 5-frame window before landing where they can press jump to jump as soon as they hit the ground. And that's it for the current features. Now for the to-do list. I definitely want to make an input display. It would definitely be helpful for creating these devlogs. I also want to make a debug screen to show the different states of every variable. Obviously it would help me with debugging. Then of course I also want to improve wall jumps with a lockout period and coyote time. And I also want to include coyote time on normal ledges as well. I want to test out the animation player with placeholder animations, and I'd like to add crouching. Of course I'm only gonna manage to make a few of these changes up until the next devlog, but as long as I'm making any progress, I'm happy. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any feedback or questions, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!